hope you all are doing well, and welcome back to our next video session or the next topic, that is the useful and harmful bacteria. If you all have remembered, we were in the topic that is kingdom Monera. Okay, we have already started the first kingdom of the 5 kingdom classification, that is the kingdom Monera. Okay, so already we have discussed about the occurrence of kingdom Monera and what are the sole members of kingdom Monera? Bacteria are the sole members of kingdom Monera. Means kingdom Monera includes all the kinds of bacteria. So already we have discussed about the occurrence of bacteria, the structure of bacteria. You can call a bacteria as unicellular prokaryotic organisms. Already I have discussed about that, and we have also discussed about the shape of bacteria. What are the types of bacteria depending upon its shape? That also we have discussed. Today we will discuss one more important, very important topic, that is useful and harmful bacteria. There are so many things to get to know about the topic. So listen it carefully. I am explaining one by one, and if you get any confusion, then again you can ask me. Go through it several times, and again you can ask me. Okay, so we will start first the useful bacteria. Useful bacteria means bacteria helps us in many ways. Okay, so what are the ways? What are the things? Some of the things here only I have written. There are also so many other things by which we can get benefit from the bacteria. So one by one we will discuss. First one is curd and cheese making. So how bacteria are useful for making curd and cheese? So here I have written, see, lactobacillus. Lactobacillus converts milk to curd, and streptococcus is a bacteria that converts milk to cheese. Okay, you have to remember the names of the bacteria. Okay, lactobacillus. See here I have underlined lactobacillus and also have underlined streptococcus. Why? Because these are the genus name. We have already discussed about the binomial naming. If you all have remembered, in binomial naming, an organism have two names, one genus name and one species name. So here I have written the genus names. That's why I need to underline them. And if you remember the rules of binomial naming, what was the rule? We need to underline separately the genus name and the species name, or else we have to write it in italic form. So I have not written in italic form, rather I have underlined. Okay, I have underlined the genus name. So lactobacillus, actually its name is Lactobacillus lacti. Okay, so as in your book only genus name is given, I have written only genus name. So lactobacillus converts milk to curd, and streptococcus converts milk to cheese. Okay, lactobacillus lacti and streptococcus lacti converts the milk to different products. Okay, now come to the next part, that is pickling. Pickling means to preserve pickles. Okay, some of the bacteria like lactobacillus and acetic acid bacteria. The same lactobacillus and acetic acid bacteria are some of the bacteria which helps in pickling. Okay, in industries also, in pickle industries also, they use these bacteria to preserve the pickle for more days. Okay, so that by adding these bacteria, the pickles can be preserved for more days. Remember, this lactobacillus bacteria maintains the pH level. pH means acidic level. Okay, that's why it converts milk to curd. Okay, and here also in pickling lactobacillus is used. That's why pickles can be stored for more days by using lactobacillus bacteria and acetic acid bacteria. Next one is antibiotics. So before telling about the bacteria involved in antibiotics, let me tell you what is an antibiotic. Antibiotic is a substance that is used to kill the microorganisms. Means here, see, here we are talking about only one kind of microorganism, that is about bacteria. But there are also several other kind of microorganisms like virus, fungi. Okay, microorganism means the organisms which cannot be seen in naked eyes. Okay, we need a microscope to see that organism. That kind of organism we call it as microorganisms. And virus, if you have already studied in class 6, virus, fungi, that all causes different infectious disease in Okay, Bacillus and Streptomyces are some bacteria which are used to produce antibiotic. Okay, and what is the work of that antibiotic? To kill other microorganisms, to kill the infection caused by other microorganisms. So nowadays antibiotics are available in ointment form, in tablet form, so that when we got viral infection or when we got fungal infection and all other microorganism infections, we used to consume the antibiotic. Okay, and that antibiotic contains bacteria, and these bacteria kills the other microorganisms. So here I have also written some of the names of antibiotics that are bacterium and Aromycin. Okay, these are the names of two antibiotics. Also there are some more antibiotics available in market. So these are the names of some antibiotic which are used to inhibit or which are used to kill the growth of some other infectious microorganisms. Okay, so this is called as antibiotic. Next one is vaccine. What is a vaccine? See, there is a difference between antibiotic and vaccine. In antibiotic also it is used to kill the microorganism. Vaccine also it is used to kill the microorganism. But what is the difference? In antibiotic, bacteria are used to kill other microorganisms like virus, fungi and all. But in vaccines, bacteria are used to kill the bacteria only. Okay? How? Means the vaccines that we are taking. Generally vaccines are injected to our blood streams. Okay? If you all have remembered, you all have taken vaccines when you were in childhood. Sometimes if you got smallpox or chickenpox, you used to take vaccines. So vaccines are generally injected to our bloodstream. So what that vaccine contains? Suppose this is a vaccine. Okay, suppose this is a vaccine. What these vaccines contain? These vaccines, suppose you got or you are infected with smallpox. Okay. Suppose you are infected with, I am just giving one example. Suppose you are infected with smallpox. Means you got smallpox virus in your body. And these vaccines, they contain the smallpox virus only, but that will be in killed form. Remember, this will be in killed form. Okay, so what is the use of this? When these killed form of virus, they are injected to our body develops immunity. So about immunity, you will read in your higher class. Need not to worry about hearing these words. So what is immunity? In short, I am saying, suppose sometimes you got cold, but without taking medicine also, you got cured from the cold. Sometimes you got fever also, without taking any medicine, it is cured. How? Because your body has your own defense mechanism, which defends your body, okay, from microorganisms. So the immune system will vary from person to person. My immune system will vary from you. Your immune system will vary from your sister or brother. Okay, we don't have equal immune system. Like for an example, if you and your friend will come, suppose this is a rainy day and you both got wet, but you don't got cold, but your friend got cold. That means the immune system of your friend is little bit less than you. Okay, got it? Immune system means the defense mechanism of your body. So whenever a microorganism enters to our body, listen carefully. Whenever microorganism, here I am writing microorganisms. Okay, whenever microorganisms enter to our body produce defense mechanism. This microorganism we call it as antigen. Remember this name. This microorganism we call it as antigen, and against this antigen, our body produce antibody. Means these antibodies will kill the antigens. Okay, so when we got infected with smallpox virus, our body will also produce some antibody against the smallpox virus, but that antibody produced by our body will not be sufficient enough to kill the smallpox virus. That's why we are taking vaccine. What is this vaccine? not infect our body again. Rather, when these antibody, when these smallpox viruses are injected in our body, injected to our body again it will produce what? Antibody against the killed smallpox virus. Means there will be less amount of smallpox virus in our body and more amount of antibiotic or antibody will be produced inside our body, so that our antibody will be able to kill the smallpox virus. So this is what we call it as vaccine. So detail about vaccine we will read, don't worry, in some other chapter we will read. So for now just remember, vaccines are the substances prepared by the microorganisms to kill the same microorganisms. Okay, vaccines are the substances prepared by the microorganisms to kill the same microorganisms, but antibiotics are prepared by the microorganisms to kill other microorganisms. Okay, this is the difference between antibiotics and vaccine. So antibiotic already we discussed. So some of the vaccines are prepared to fight against cholera, tuberculosis and all. Okay. Here I have written some of the vaccines for bacterial disease. Also there are some of the vaccines for viral disease and all. Smallpox vaccine is available to kill the smallpox virus. Okay. Like that, some of the vaccines are available to kill the cholera, to kill the tuberculosis bacteria. Okay. So these are some vaccines which can be prepared by using the bacteria. Okay, cholera and tuberculosis. Now probiotics. What is probiotics? Probiotics are the substances which are used in digestion related problem. Digestion related problem means sometimes we got high acidity. Okay, sometimes we feel irritation in our stomach. Okay, that kind of problems can be cured by using probiotics. Okay, remember probiotics are the substances which are used to cure or for the treatment of digestion related problems. So what are the bacteria used for probiotics? Lactic acid bacteria and acidic acid bacteria. Same as that of cheese and curd making bacteria and pickling bacteria. Lactic acid bacteria and acidic acid bacteria. So these lactic acid bacteria and acidic acid bacteria, they will regulate or they will maintain the acidic content of our stomach. Okay, so these are the bacteria which are used to prepare probiotic. What is probiotic? Probiotic is a substance which is used to cure or for the treatment of digestion related problem. Okay, now synthesis of vitamins. Synthesis of vitamins. What is vitamin? Vitamin is a substance which is needed to our body for the growth and development of our body. So there are some bacteria by using that vitamins can be produced. There is a renowned or an important bacteria we call it as E. coli. Okay, it is a very important bacteria. In many of the commercial uses, E. coli are used. So E. coli is a bacteria, and do you know from where E. coli is taken? It is taken from the human intestine only. Okay, E. coli is extracted. E. coli is taken from our body only, from human intestine. And by using that E. coli, some of the vitamins like B complex. Okay, I think you are familiar with this vitamin B complex. Vitamin B complex are produced. Sometimes you may find some wound-like structure over your tongue, over your leaves and all. That is due to the deficiency of B complex, and you used to consume the vitamin B complex tablets. Okay, so if there is a deficiency of E. coli bacteria in your intestine, then you got some of the rashes or wound-like structure over your mouth. So when you consume the B complex tablet, it will be cured. So E. coli is a bacteria found in the human intestine. Okay, intestine of the human, and that are used to prepare the B complex vitamin. Next, retin of jute fibers. in last year chemistry we have discussed about fibers and all. In industrial use of chemistry we have discussed. In clothing industry we have discussed artificial fiber, natural fiber, that all we have discussed. So what is retting of jute fiber? Retting of jute fiber means the jute plant will be kept. So in retting is a process. What is the process? The jute plants are taken out and that jute plants are allowed to spoil or to allow to degrade inside water. Okay, they keep that jute fiber in a place inside water, and to that jute fiber one bacteria will act. So what that bacteria will do? That will degrade or that will decompose all the cell walls, all the pectin or cellulose part of that plant. And what will be extracted? The fiber or the thread part of the jute can be extracted. So what is the bacteria used for retting of jute fiber? Clostridium bacteria, botulism. Okay, Clostridium botulism is a bacteria. This name is not given in your book. It is an additional information to you. Clostridium botulism is a bacteria which is used to extract jute fiber from jute plant. Okay, so what is retting of jute fiber? Retting of jute fiber means jute plants are allowed to spoil in a place. When they will leave that jute fibers for some days, one bacteria called Clostridium botulism will act on that bacteria. Okay, Clostridium botulism will act on that plant. Okay, this Clostridium botulism, what it will do? It will decompose. It will spoil the plant. Okay, it will spoil the jute fiber, jute plant, and it will spoil the cell wall part. It will spoil the pectin of that plant, and thread-like substances will be there, and that thread is only the jute fiber, which can be extracted later on. Okay, so this process is called retting of jute fiber. Next, recycling of nutrients. What do you mean by recycling? Recycling means we can use it again. Okay, some of the nutrients or some of the biodegradable wastes can be recycled. Okay, we generally used to leave the vegetable waste, animal waste. Okay, that can be recycled back by using some of the bacteria. We call it as recycling of nutrient bacteria. Cyanobacteria or cyanobacteria. Cyanobacteria is a bacteria which is used for the recycling of nutrient. This is also not given in your book. This name of this bacteria is not given. Cyanobacteria is a very important bacteria which plays a major role in nature, which decompose the organic waste, means the animal and plant waste. Okay, and again it can be recycled. It will be degraded. Sometimes you might found when a rat dies or when any animal, when it dies, after some days it will form a very pungent smell, and after some days half of its part will be degraded. Okay, and again after some days you will not find that over that place. Where it is now mixed with the soil. That is by the help of the recycling of bacteria, recycling of nutrients by the microorganisms. Okay, so this is one example of one bacteria which is used for the recycling of nutrients. Okay, it will recycle the nutrient content inside the, and remember, these bacteria cannot recycle the non-biodegradable waste like plastic and all. They cannot degrade. They can only degrade the living wastes. That's why it is called as recycling of nutrients. Now, nitrogen fixation. This is a very important topic. Nitrogen fixation, broadly we will read in chemistry part. Now I am giving some little bit explanation to you. Nitrogen fixation means, see, nitrogen is a very essential element which is used for the growth of animal as well as plants. Okay, but do you know nitrogen is in its free form in the atmosphere? Means we cannot ever or we cannot get nitrogen directly from the atmosphere. association, by symbiotic association with the roots of some plants. Okay, we will read details about this. So these bacteria, they lives inside the soil and they takes the free atmospheric nitrogen and they convert it into nitrogenous compound so that it will be available to the plants. Okay, and by using the nitrogen, plants can prepare fruits and vegetables and all, and by consuming that we will also get the nitrogenous, or we will also get the nitrogen. And nitrogen is, remember, very essential for the growth. Do you know nitrogen is very essential for the growth of our skin and hair? Okay, so if these bacteria would not be there in the soil, I think the availability of nitrogen in the plants would not happen. Okay, so how important bacteria these are. Even plants may also die. Okay, plants also need nitrogen for its growth. Again, it stores nitrogen, and that stored nitrogen part again we are consuming. Okay, to overall growth of our body. So some of the nitrogen fixing bacteria are Clostridium and Rhizobium. Clostridium and Rhizobium are some nitrogen fixing bacteria. So this, if this is the root of a plant, like this. Do you know leguminous plants? So generally these nitrogen fixing bacteria are present in leguminous plants. Okay, so these bacteria are there associated with the roots. They are combinedly in the root and they will take the atmospheric nitrogen and they will convert that free nitrogen into nitrogenous compound, and that can be easily available to the plants. Now, genetic engineering. This is also a very important topic. Genetic engineering. In class 6, when we have learned about the cell, if you remember, one topic we have covered about gene. What is gene? Gene is present inside chromosome, which carries the hereditary, character. That's why we look same as to our parents. That is the gene. So gene is related to genetic engineering. So what is genetic engineering? Scientists, they are growing plants in laboratories. This is also another technique called tissue culture technique. We will read everything in details, don't worry, in some other chapter. In tissue culture technique, plants can be grown in laboratories. Okay, this is a very widely used techniques nowadays. Scientists, they are using it. If you will go for higher studies like biotechnology, microbiology, then you will be well acquainted with these things. Okay, we also used to do these things in practically in laboratories. So by using the tissue culture techniques, scientists, they are growing plants in lab, and what they are doing, they can insert some gene inside the plant. Okay, that process we call it as genetic engineering. Means drought resistant plant, pest resistant plant, means they will grow some varieties of plants which can survive in drought condition. They will produce some varieties of plants which can be never get infected or never get attacked by pests. Okay, so that kind of plants can be grown, that can be produced by genetic engineering or tissue culture technique. So one bacteria called Bacillus thuringiensis, or as we also shortly we can write it as BT. Bacillus thuringiensis is a bacteria whose gene is inserted into the plant for pest control. Okay, this Bacillus thuringiensis bacteria is very helpful to control the pest. Okay, pests, I think you all are clear what is a pest. Pest means the insects and all that used to spoil the plants. Okay, so these kinds of plants, this kind of genetically engineered plants can never get attacked with pest. Okay, so this is a technique. Again, this is a very vast topic. Genetic engineering, tissue culture, these are the very vast topics. For now, just remember genetic engineering is a technique by which scientists can reform the gene. They can insert a new gene inside the plant. Okay, and by using that gene, they can produce a pest resistant plant or pest control plant. Means they need not to spray the insecticides, they need not to spray the pesticides and all to the plants, because already the plant got the pest resistant gene. It will not get attacked with the pest again. Okay, so what is the bacteria? Bacillus thuringiensis. Okay, Bacillus thuringiensis is a bacteria which is used to control the pest. Now the last one is biological treatment. Biological treatment means in industries, some of the waste, biodegradable wastes, can be recycled or can be treated. It is same as that of recycling of nutrients. But recycling of nutrients occurs naturally. Biological treatments occurs in industries. Okay, in industries, some of the biodegradable wastes are recycled. It can be recycled by treating or by adding some bacteria to it. Okay, that process or that tendency is called as biological treatment, which is used in industries and all to recycle the waste, to recycle the biodegradable wastes. Okay, so this is all about the useful bacteria. These are some useful bacteria. In short, I have written, only remember like this, only the names you just remember. And for your understanding purpose only, I have given you the detailed, explanation for vaccine, antibiotic, probiotics and all. Okay, don't worry, I will not ask you to learn all that things. Only you learn these, names of the bacteria. Okay, which are used for the used as a useful bacteria. Okay, now some of the harmful bacteria are also there, which harms the human and animals as well. So about the harmful bacteria, already it was there in your class 6. Again some part I am repeating. Spoilage of food. You can notice during summers, generally when your mother forgot to get the curries inside the fridge, the curries get spoiled. Okay, why? That is due to the action, or that is due to the that is by the spoilage bacteria. What are the spoilage bacteria? Clostridium. Clostridium is a bacteria which generally spoils the food. Okay, and remember, more the bacteria will spoil the food more in hot condition rather in cold condition. That's why we used to keep the remaining foods inside the freezer or refrigerator, so that it will get free from the spoilage bacteria. Okay, so one example of the spoilage bacteria here I have written Clostridium. Food poisoning. Food poisoning is a very common disease. Okay, sometimes if you will consume the food kept outside, we generally got food poisoning. See, food spoilage and food poisoning are two different things. In food spoilage, the bacteria will spoil the food totally. Means you cannot consume the food. It will produce a bad smell. But in food poisoning, the bacteria will act upon that food, which will not create a bad smell. You can take that food, and after taking that food, you got food spoilage. Food infection. Okay, or we can commonly call it as food poisoning. So what these bacteria are doing? They generally produce a toxin, or they generally produce a poison over the food. When we consume that toxin will go inside our intestine or to our stomach, and it will produce a food poisoning. And remember, food poisoning is also very deadly. It is very dangerous if it is not treated very soon. Okay, so when you got food poisoning, go to your doctor immediately and take the medicine or ORS powder and all, so that it will be cured easily. So food poisoning, generally Clostridium botulism, same as that of here. Okay, these two bacteria are same. Clostridium botulism is a bacteria which generally produce toxin or which generally produce poison over the food. Okay, and when we consume that, we got food poisoning. Disease causing is very easy and already it is known to you. There are several diseases which are caused by bacteria. I think I need not to repeat it again, like cholera, okay, Vibrio cholerae causes cholera, typhoid, tetanus, okay, these all are some of the diseases. It is given in your book also. Read out, yes. Some 5 are only given. Tuberculosis, tetanus, typhoid fever and botulism. Okay, you might have confusion with botulism. Botulism is same as that of food poisoning. Okay, which is caused by Clostridium botulicum. Okay, so food poisoning is otherwise also called as botulism. So these are some of the diseases you can read out from your book. Already you got this topic in your class 6. That's why I am not giving more explanation. So these are some useful and harmful bacteria we can get over our surrounding. Okay, some of that we have discussed. Again, some more are there. We will gradually read it in your higher class. Okay, so this is a very important topic. Go through the topic again, go through the book again, and again I am saying this is a very vast topic. If you want to explore some more things also, you can explore, and if any doubt then you can ask me also. And with this, we have completed the first kingdom, that is the kingdom Monera. All the things about kingdom Monera we have discussed. And in our next class, we will go for the second kingdom, that is kingdom Protista. About kingdom Protista also we will learn in details. And again go through the kingdom Monera part. And kingdom Monera mainly includes what? Bacteria. Okay, we are here studying about the bacteria. Okay, so next part, that is the next kingdom, we will discuss in our next class. Thank you.